Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Bank Shot Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Thursday, January 12th, 2023. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, you can always find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. Alrighty, let's get into it. Here are the games for Thursday in college basketball. First up, we see Utah and UCLA. This one's going to be a late night start time, 11 Eastern on Pac-12 Network. Utah, I think, has some big issues. We mentioned it in their most recent game against Oregon, where they lost that game by 10 points, even though they were 5.5-point favorites at home. Now you go on the road against a UCLA team that's right now ranked 7th in the country in AP polls, even better in KenPom ranked 4th. They're on an 11-game win streak, and I just don't like your chances if you're the Utah Utes in this matchup. You know, big issues defensively in terms of forcing turnovers. You're ranked 324th in the country, so yeah, you're able to force some tough shots for your opposition on most times down the floor, but you know, Oregon was able to score 70 points pretty easily in that game, and that was without really having a good day from 3. 7 of 28 the Ducks were in that game, 25%. Now you have a team like UCLA that's 60th in the country in effective field goal percentage. They're 4th in turnover percentage on offense, so they take care of the ball. Pretty good shooting team, a good perimeter shooting team, top 50 in three-point shooting, good offensive rebounding team. I think UCLA's offense is going to have its way in this game, and UCLA's defense is even better than the offense, in my opinion. It's 6th right now in adjusted defensive efficiency. They force turnovers. Not as good on the defensive glass as last year's roster, but still, I think this UCLA team is far better and in far better shape than Utah right now. Give me UCLA to continue rolling and earn another win, and this time a cover against Utah. We stay in the Pac-12 as Stanford takes on Washington. This one's going to be 11 o'clock Eastern as well, Fox Sports 1. You know, both teams have some issues right now. Stanford's 5-10 overall this season. They're 0-5 in conference play on a 3-game losing streak. Washington had a better non-conference schedule, but played pretty weak teams overall. And now they're on a 5-game losing streak. They're 1-5 in conference play. I do think Washington is the slightly better offensive team on paper, but I think Stanford's defense is really underrated, and we saw another game where Stanford played California. It was at Cal. I like Stanford in that ball game, but you look at the numbers, this is unbelievable. Cal had an unbelievable night shooting the basketball. They were 16 of 22 from 3, 72.7% from the perimeter. I don't care how bad. You could literally not even play anybody on the perimeter defensively. Just let these guys shoot wide open from 3. I still don't think they're going to have a 73% shooting performance from the perimeter most nights. I mean, that's 3-point shooting contest numbers, and let alone you have 5 guys on the floor trying to defend them. So it was a fluke performance, in my opinion, for Stanford's defense. I don't think Washington is the type of team to be able to replicate those kind of numbers. They're ranked 311th in the country in 3-point shooting. I think Stanford's been one of the unluckiest teams in Division I college basketball this season, and I do think because of those performances, when you see them lose by 22 points to Cal, we're going to get some value with the Cardinal because people kind of turning their heads in the books, certainly not really giving much respect to Stanford in these types of spots. So give me Stanford, the Cardinal. I think they have the much better defense. I'm going to take them in this spot. I'm going to take the points. Next up, we see Pepperdine and San Diego in the West Coast Conference. This one's going to be 10 o'clock Eastern. These two teams combined are 1-6 in conference play, and we know the West Coast Conference has gotten a lot more competitive. We knew the teams like Gonzaga, BYU, and St. Mary's were good, but we're starting to see some of the other teams like San Francisco and Loyola Marymount really step it up talent-wise, even Santa Clara. So, this is a conference that's really, one of the tougher mid-major conferences out there. And, San Diego and Pepperdine are both pretty good shooting teams. San Diego right now is ranked 114th in three-point shooting, but they're ranked 21st in free throw shooting as a team. Pepperdine's 59th in the country in three-point shooting. So both teams can score, but both defenses have really struggled. Pepperdine more so on the road, where they're 0-6 straight up this season. They lost to Cal State Fullerton. They lost by 47 points to UCLA, giving up 100 in that game. They also gave up 111 on the road against Gonzaga. They lost to Hawaii away from home. They lost to Grand Canyon on a true road game, gave up 83 points in overtime. So, this is not a very good defense away from home for Pepperdine. It's really not a great defense anywhere, but I do think San Diego is going to be able to take advantage of that in this game. I also think San Diego's defense is a little bit underrated. It's still not a very good defensive team for the Toreros, but a very experienced team that's had some issues with injuries, but they're 8th in the country in Division I experience. I do think that this home game is a good spot for the Toreros to grab a win and a cover. So give me San Diego. I'm going to continue to fade Pepperdine away from home. Next up, we see another West Coast Conference game between San Francisco and Portland. This one's going to be 11 o'clock Eastern on ESPNU. Neither of these teams have played well in West Coast Conference play either. You look at these two teams' combined record in the conference is 1-6, just like the last matchup we talked about. Portland's on a 5-game losing streak. San Francisco's lost 3 of their last 4. But, I think this Portland team, we remember in non-conference play, they were pulling off some upsets. They were also covering some big numbers against some tough teams. It was a 1-point loss to Michigan State. They played well against North Carolina. They beat Villanova outright. They beat Air Force on the road by 13. So they were playing really well in non-conference action. They had some injuries, and so far, they've had some recent injuries as well. The guys like Tyler Robertson and Moses Wood that have held them back. But I still think Portland is one of the better teams in the West Coast Conference. San Francisco was rolling, and they beat Arizona State in a blowout before getting into West Coast play. But their defense has struggled in the conference, giving up 79 to Santa Clara, 80 to San Diego, and 77 to Gonzaga. They bounced back with a nice win against Loyola Marymount last time out, but I just don't really trust this Dons team away from home. I do think if there was a spot for Portland to earn a bounce-back victory, this would be the one. Still a very good shooting team on paper, and I think their defense is also a lot better than what the current numbers are in terms of adjusted defensive efficiency. Portland's a good rebounding team. They forced some turnovers, and at home here, it's going to be probably a pretty good home court advantage. I'm going to take the Pilots to get a bounce-back win. Give me the Portland Pilots. And the final game we're going to talk about for Thursday's card in college basketball, it is Troy and Georgia State. This one's 7 o'clock Eastern on ESPN+. This Georgia State offense is really strange this season. They're ranked right now 347th in effective field goal percentage and 360th in three-point percentage as a team. Yet, they're 25th in the country with a 77% free throw percentage as a team. So one of the better free throw shooting teams in the country, one of the worst shooting teams on the floor in terms of field goal percentage in the country as well. You got to think that those shooting numbers from 3-point and 2-point range are going to get a little bit sharper as we continue conference play. And this is also a Georgia State team that does a pretty good job of getting to the free throw line, which is important if you're that good of a free throw shooting team. You face a team like Troy that defensively takes quite a bit of fouls on defense. They've had issues with their guys getting into foul trouble early on in games this year. And you look on the other side, Troy's also a very poor defensive rebounding team, 304th in the country in defensive rebounding percentage. Georgia State should be able to get those second chance looks, get to the free throw line quite a bit, and I do think Georgia State's defense is going to be able to hold up in a matchup like this. So I'm going to take the home team here. I think Georgia State at least covers, if not wins the game outright. And that's it. Those are the games for Thursday in college hoops. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pickdawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.